Welcome to Roofing Road Trips, the podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey across the world of roofing. From fascinating interviews with roofing experts to on-the-road adventures, we'll uncover the stories, innovations, and challenges that shape the rooftops over our heads. So fasten your seatbelts and join us as we embark on this exciting roofing road trip.
Hello and welcome to another Roofing Road Trips. This is Heidi Ellsworth, and just out of the blue, I had an opportunity to do a Roofing Road Trips with one of my dearest friends in roofing, and that's Charles Antis. So we're grabbing the moment, and we're going to have a little catch up about what's happening in Antis Roofing, and also a little bit about cause marketing, one of my favorite topics. And of course, if you're going to talk cause marketing, you're going to talk about giving back, you got to talk to the guru of all times in roofing, and that's Charles Antis. So Charles, welcome to Roofing Road Trips.
Wow, what a beautiful intro. Can you write that down and I use that next time I speak, Bobby?
Sure.
Yeah. Hi, thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you. I have such a memory with you that goes back. You were the one that connected me. One of the many shepherds that showed up on that one time I was finally ready to receive all of the goodness that's occurring in the roofing industry. It was, 8 years ago, I was fed up. I'd gone to a convention. It didn't go well. And I go, I'm going to go to that convention a day early and I'm going to go to that Rebuilding Orlando event.
Yeah.
And that's where I met you. And it was a powerful meeting. We somehow connected on a high level because we both knew that we loved this industry, this trade that protects. And so I am just grateful to be here anytime with you. And you're one of these people that lifts people. We may not understand how that occurs, but and I want to be like you. So I hang around people that I want the traits of, and I want to be like you. You are like that one day you told me you were like the forest.
The forest.
And you see it beautiful because no matter what shape, what size, what color, and even every deformity, you see it as beautiful. And that type of thinking, that type of letting go of all of the judgment, not knowing you're one of my gurus and one of my mentors. So thank you.
Oh, I feel the same right back at you. All that. I remember that day so well when we met. First of all, we're both from Oregon. So we were like, okay, Oregonians unite. So let's start with an introduction. Just for those few people who might not know you, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your company?
I am Charles Antis, and I am the founder here at 35-year-old Antis Roofing, but I call myself the Chief People Awakener.
Ooh.
I think, though, the thing that's most important is the vision that we share in this company along with people like you. And it's this model of fearless giving. We believe that the keys to a prosperous and beloved business are through generosity and heart. And that's how I met you. And that's what we do here at Antis Roofing. And the reason we're a strong, known brand, not only just here in Orange County where we're centered in LA and our counties where we serve all the way to San Diego, but we're known because we're connected to all of those organizations where people have this motto, this feeling that I got to give as much as I can of my time, of my talents and my treasures back to what has given us so much, whether it's our parents, our community, and how could we not forget industry? And that's how we know each other. That's how Antis Roofing is ran today, by purposeful leaders who give back to the community and the trade. You know, my COO, Susan DeGrassi, where I used to be on the National Roofing Board not long after we met because I got involved in things. She's now on the National Roofing Board, and she leads with love. And it sounds insane that a roofing company can have a Disneyland vibe inside and outside, but it's because I think that we both belong in this trade as old as time, keeping families safe and dry. And when you really follow the principles of that, when you really let go of knowing, and like you have to find that leak, following that drop of water, pulling to find the weakness, and then you fix that weakness, it develops the best in humanness. Because not only can you think like water, flow without bias to find the weakness, you can actually behave like water in the community. And I think there's something metaphoric that I try to put words to that I see people doing in this industry. Most of them don't talk about it like we do. but there's a lens through which we talk about our giving, and that is, we're trying to do this. We're trying to solve hunger. We're trying to create more blood by you donating it. We're trying to house more homeless people. And then what happens is we end up flowing together, collaborating in this beautiful way. So we start behaving like water. And I'm getting too deep. I need you to bail me out, throw me a life preserver right now. But
I love this stuff. So we're in trouble. Everybody out there is going to be like, what? What? No, I totally get it. And I love that analogy because I've also heard that, it's like you think about the water going down the river and it goes around the rocks. It doesn't try to submerge the rocks. Now it might wear them down a little bit in time, but it's that flow. I love that. And, one of the things you said, Charles, that always, I always think about is the roofing industry. This is not a new concept. Giving back is not a new concept. Roofing contractors overall, construction have always given back to the industry. They just don't talk about it, but they're the first ones there after storms to help keep everybody safe and sound. They're the first ones there to help in the community when people need help, for veterans or people homeless, and doing all of the things, the give backs that people need. And you really brought to the industry, and I hope I say this okay. What you brought to the industry wasn't about you should be giving back, because they already were. But what you brought was you should talk about it. You should talk about it so we can all uplift and we can all celebrate the generosity and the commitment of this industry. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, we all have a bias that if we don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing, if we talk about our good giving to anybody, it could internally, it might make the employees mad that you're giving. I had to learn that. It was hard because I never talked about it. Though when we donated that first Habitat roof, and I would say Ansys Roofing was struck with a condition, and that I was struck with a condition, because I couldn't let a family have a leaky roof just because they didn't have the money to pay, which meant sometimes that we'd go into a place with the intent to sell, look around and go, oh my God, they've got no money. But then you wonder, what if I could just patch their roof?
Yeah.
That's the thing that people do all the time. And a lot of times there's a curse word ahead of it. It'll just patch it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you in every roofing company, there's a foreman or a roofing professional out there that has done that, and has done it or on his own time, even maybe not even told his boss. And I was the same way. But what happened was we got asked to donate a Habitat roof like 15 years ago at Habitat for Humanity. And it was easy for me to say yes to that first roof because I was struck with that condition. I did tell my people about it, but not why. I told them I'm donating a roof, which did upset some. It took more time away, probably some of their bonuses, they might have thought. But something happened in me, that when they asked me to donate every roof since, because we'll donate the 100th next year, I couldn't say no. But it was wonky then. You've heard me say on stage that when in the beginning I was happy, because I knew why I was doing it, but I wasn't telling everybody. And I remind myself of Will Ferrell in Old School when he's streaking by himself, but he thinks the whole crowd with him, and his wife drives up in the car and says, "Honey, get in the car. What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm streaking. Everybody's doing it." And then he all alone, he didn't know it. That's what happened. But then I finally told this story to my people. And it took me a while to find it. I was actually at a Habitat retreat, and I was worried I couldn't meet payroll. I was worried I wouldn't be able to donate roofs again. And their director of marketing Gladys said, "Charles, stop telling our story," which is, we believe everyone deserves a safe, dry home, which was part of our story. She said, "Tell your story. What happened?" And so that's the story. Heidi, I know you've also heard when I showed up to sell work, like I said.
Yeah.
But I had a little lump in my throat. The home looked really disheveled. And when I knocked on the door, a woman answered the door with this frown. Oh my God, what's? And then I smelled a wave of mildew. Oh my God, I got to leave. I hadn't even said anything yet. I was thinking what I was going to say when I was going to leave. And I felt a tug at my hand and looked down. And this little girl looked like her mom, but she was like 6 years old. And she had this big smile. And she's got a visitor in her home. And I saw that there was something going on. I didn't quite know. I just had to follow her. She pulled me through this crowded living room into this literally crooked hallway and into her room. And I knew it was her room because she proudly pointed to her new My Little Pony poster on the wall and just
Oh,
stood there smiling. But that's when I only had eyes for her feet because that's where the moldy mattress was. And I realized why the house smelled. I realized this little girl was in a really bad place. And you know what I did? I did nothing. I was so scared. I didn't yet know that who else could be in that situation that could help. I didn't yet know it. I wanted to leave. I had a mortgage payment to make, but the mom walked back in that room. Must have been only a minute later, but it felt longer. And she looked at me and I saw that same frown. And now it meant something to me. Her frown said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not going to be able to do anything." And that's what her frown said.
yeah.
And to me, that was like, oh my God. And so something came out of me that I never remember saying before that moment. I said, "Ma'am, I'm going to take care of your roof."
Yeah.
Not knowing, letting go of knowing. Somehow, maybe that same intention I had to solve a leak no matter what, that to help this family was just as big. I walked up on that roof praying, "Oh, please God, only be a hole in the roof."
Yeah.
But instead,
Easy.
it was shambles. They needed a whole new roof.
Oh,
And so
wow.
that was the moment that shifted because I had to let go of a lot. I got some materials. I had to get volunteers, and even her oldest brother helped out. I think he was 16. And that weekend, we gave that family a new roof. It wasn't the best roof looking back. If I had photos of it, you would giggle. You would also maybe those giggles might turn to tears because you would know that changed everything for that family, you
Right.
know? But it didn't only change that family. It changed everything here at Antis Roofing. We just didn't know it yet because
Yeah.
I finally told that story, not till like 13 years ago. And it made a difference. All of a sudden, people started getting it. But I also listened to their stories. And once we started listening to stories, we started getting involved in so many charities like Ronald McDonald House when my kids were born premature, which is why
Mm-hmm.
we donated that first roof, because we could keep the families, just like they did us, safe, dry, and close when they needed it the most. And that, as you know, I'm very proud of, and I'm not saying this to brag, but because of the people I met that day with you, and you and yourself pumped it a lot. I remember on those committees, so many other people like Bill Good, we rallied the industry, and now 200 companies have adopted every roof on every Ronald McDonald House in the U.S., and it's the most powerful thing, even though every time one of those gift opportunities come, it's hard for us. The hospital roof for Ronald McDonald House for San Diego just came up, and I actually told Corey, who's on National Women in Roofing, which
Yeah. Yeah.
and who's also on the Ronald McDonald House board behind me. I told her, we can't do that roof. It's not part of the commitment. It's attached to a hospital. We just did that roof. And it's because of all of the suppliers, IB Roofing, just like they do every time we ask them on anything. Just like GAF does, Speak, and all these brands. Eagle Tile has donated they've donated every tile on every Habitat roof that we've installed, which is all but a couple of them. I mean,
Wow.
that's a $2 million gift over the
Yeah.
last 15 years. And it happens because the industry shows up together. Because of that thing, we all have that thing in us. It's an opportunity to talk about it because now our culture is great because we talk about it. We listen to each other's stories. Why do we hold blood drives? Last Monday, I loudly proclaimed the 148th blood drive at Antis Roofing, where we raised 12,000 life-saving treatments of plasma. The stuff,
Holy cow.
superpower serum you can't make. I mean,
Yeah.
like we're changing the way that the word philanthropy, which I never liked, and I never call myself a philanthropist. I get why people do,
Mm-hmm.
but the root meaning of philanthropy is beautiful, and I'm going to say it, slow down and say it. Philanthropy means the love of mankind, the love of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful thing. But really for us today, we've changed the way we do it, and we've been breaking the rules. We were warned by the people a long time, you're doing it wrong. But now we're understanding real philanthropy is that the real love of mankind is not only saying yes to housing, it's saying yes to donating food. It's saying yes to getting blood.
Right.
It's saying yes to do equine therapy for soldiers with PTSD and children with autism. It's
Yeah.
saying yes to doing so many things I could go on because Antis Roofing listens to all of our employees and we get involved in all these causes. And now it's not just me on all these nonprofit boards getting to have the luckiest CEO seat in Orange County. I have VPs that are on boards, and it's a beautiful thing that I've learned from this trade, learning to behave like water.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful thing. And I'm going to say one more thing about that, because it's to the roofing pros that are listening. You won't think this is silly, but it's a story I didn't learn to tell until 2 years ago internally. And it's what happened when I would solve a leak. Back when I started my business, I was so desperate for work, I actually said, give me the leak that nobody can solve and I'll fix it for free. And there was nothing benevolent yet. I wasn't donating anything. It was my swagger. It was, I would do anything to solve a leak. I had a huge intention.
Yeah.
But what I would do, because I was small by myself, maybe one employee, I would go up on an area of that roof where everyone's saying you need a new roof, and near that leak by that chimney on that roof, on that tile roof. And when no one was looking, I would lay down, literally lay down until my head hit the tiles. And then I would do this. I would imagine I am water. But I would literally see a drop of water falling from the sky in my mind's eye next to that chimney. And I would watch that drop of water that somehow was me in that moment. And it would cling to that chimney, and it would flow down, and it would drip on that flashing, and I would feel it pulling and pooling to find the weakness. And I know that's silly, but I did that literal thing. But something I can tell you, I always found that leak.
Yeah.
Whether it was 2 feet away or 30 feet away, I would pop up that tile to expose that deformity, whether it a rusty nail breaking the flashing. But there was something powerful about that big desire to do something that's so important as keeping a family safe and dry. And this is what I learned that I partially mentioned earlier. And I didn't say this until a couple years ago. And I don't always say it because it's who is this guy? I think he's a poet or is he a roofer? And I learned this, and this is true with water to find the weakness, and it's entirely true in the highest form of human behavior. For where there is failure, water will find it always. It does not pause to preside. It just flows without bias. Again, that's how I found the leak. That's how you find the leak. When I share at a roofing convention, which I recently did, about that principle, you can hear a pin drop. And I wouldn't have expected that. I didn't want to tell that story. Somebody made me tell it after I told her, Corey Vernon.
Yeah.
But it's powerful because we all have that big intention. It's not just in finding the leak on the roof. It's in finding the leak in the community. And it's not just the roofing trade. We just get exposed to it up on those roofs and with the importance of these jobs that we have. But it's the highest of human behavior. And can I tell a story that proves it true?
Yes, please.
Okay, I've told you stories that prove about the roofing industry. Literally, our habitat builds. It's like literally everyone shows up. I get a yes from all the manufacturers, distributors. People are in line to give. But it's also the highest in human behavior because this just happened 3 years ago. I'm on an airplane. And so an airplane is isolated. It's like when you're at a ship at sea, the captain is God. When you're up on an airplane, that pilot is in charge. And it's an isolated, like Lord of the Flies environment. You don't know what's going on. And so I'm on this airplane, and all of a sudden there's my wife and family are with me. And we're actually on the way to a Roofing Alliance meeting in Florida. You were there. Mm-hmm. I'm on the way to that. And suddenly, we'd only been gone an hour. We hear this noise. God. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're having a medical emergency.
Oh.
Is there a doctor on board? When that moment happens, I've been in it more than once. It's a pin drop moment. And nobody stands up right away. It's so weird. Nobody stands up right away. But if you think about it, no different than me in that home with that little girl showed me her moldy mattress. There's only one type of person who can stand up in that situation. And it's not me. What I did notice right away when I didn't know what was going to happen was I was pissed. I didn't care. I was angry, like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Is this going to happen right now? Please, 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 please. I'm starving. I got to get to the Alliance because I have meetings in the morning. I might have to speak. I don't know. I'm scared. I need my food and I'm hungry right now. And then I look ahead of me and I see the passengers moving around. There's a man 2 rows ahead. It's a big gold watch. He's looking at it. He knows he's going to miss his connection. and he's upset. I can just see by his body gesture. There's a panic in the plane, and everyone was upset. And then finally, this tall British man who was right behind me, that I heard talking the whole time, he was loud, and maybe I thought a little, I don't know, I was like, wish he'd be quiet. Suddenly, that guy stands up, and I swear to God, he had a stethoscope around his neck. And then a woman stood up next to, a few rows down, and she had like a little bag. And all of a sudden, something happened on that plane that is monumental, a monumental shift that I experienced. It was Lord of the Flies a little bit in the beginning. There was no pig on a stick, pig head on a stick or whatever, but it was a Lord of the Flies. But when those people stood up in that moment, because they were the only ones who could, they commandeered the plane, the pilot, the flight attendants, every passenger, even a man with the gold watch started rallying. We asked it to pass our ice. It had any ice, we collected it in a bucket. We passed our napkins because there wasn't any more blankets. And everybody involved, including my that time 7-year-old twins, got involved, who were scared initially. And by the time the pilot said we're going to turn it around, oh, we have to make an emergency stop. It was expected. And by the time we landed in Albuquerque, something happened. The whole plane stood up and cheered when those medical signals came on. I mean, we cheered, and I looked at the man with the gold watch. I think he had tears in his eyes, as did I. And then all the way, even though I was going to be 5 hours late to the Roofing Alliance meetings, get to bed at 2 a.m., all the way there, we were talking about it. We were feeling so lucky to have witnessed the highest form of human behavior. And that's that we're not just for ourselves. We're not just for a family. We're for everybody within our reach of us at any given time. And that was the highest form because it was a beautiful experience. And the cool thing was, I found out on the way to Orlando, was the tall British man that was loud before, he wasn't a doctor. He was the dive medic in Long Beach at the Aquarium of the Pacific. He was an animal checker.
But he knew enough.
Qualified. And his stethoscope worked for animals and it worked for humans. And the woman that stood up was a chalk nurse, the same hospital that helped Charlie and Gracie when they were little. And we just had this joyous moment that I'll always remember. And that is the highest form of humanity. You know, it's not to hoard up for ourselves, and it's not to overwork your employees and low bid and low ball. You know, it's to let go of knowing, to flow together without bias to find the weakness, giving way more than you ever think possible that you could have given, and then sleeping better. Not just you, but everybody's sleeping better in your whole chain of connections. And I think that there's something powerful that I'm just so grateful for that I've learned in roofing, because I now have the choice every day, if I meditate and notice nature and trees and listen to people, no matter whether if I agree initially with them or not, I find that I can behave like that. And that's why Antis Roofing is generous, is because we encourage that type of behavior.
Yeah. So beautiful stories. I am, as always, so inspired. So I want to kind of wrap up this with where we started with the stories, but I would love for you to kind of share that journey for Antis Roofing of, because you said it as you were talking about it, the first time you were scared, you had to make payroll, you had your people, the team wasn't totally behind it and what was happening. Where are you today? Just talk about where you're at today and what this philosophy, this culture of giving through Antis Roofing, where has it really brought you and what you're doing today? Let's end it there so people can kind of be inspired to see that success story.
Well, thank you for asking. Yeah, I used to be here at 5 a.m. and leave at 8 o'clock at night and measure everybody by how much they kept up with me. I was a workaholic at times. And there could have been sometimes necessary, but a lot of times I didn't yet get. I needed to let go, let other people grow. I needed to spend time with other things. And so I mentioned, the company was wonky at times. But I think over time, the more I gave away is the key. The more I gave away, whether it was roofing or authority, I would give responsibilities to people. Like, I'm no longer going to call to make sure the roofs are all dry. Sure, there were accidents in the beginning. There were mistakes. And I remember one particular painful place that we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over years to repair because it wasn't adequately protected at night. But by letting go of that, billing, all of these things, and now taking the time instead and putting it to building community, that's been the secret. The more I let go of, the bigger my gift, whether it's my gift of responsibilities or it's my gift of time and resources out there or internally, which we're very generous in our bonuses and our aguinaldos. But we've learned that the more we give away, the better we are. And so it doesn't make sense. It's very counterintuitive. But this is how it's occurred. Over the last 15 years, I used to spend maybe 5% of my time 15 years ago on the donations, on a board, working on donating my time to Habitat for Humanity. But I also started becoming the traits of those leaders I sat next to. I started to see myself higher without knowing it. Those around me and within me in our company, they probably trusted me more because they knew I was associated with something good, subconsciously even. But the more I gave away, so fast forward to today when I'm on 6 or 8 boards, I can't honestly tell you off the top of my head, national and local. I sit on a lot of different things like judging awards, and I say yes to every opportunity I can. I hardly spend any time in the business, and that means I weigh in on big decisions, like I know where the money flow is, but I let everybody else manage, and we follow that EOS format that a lot of people like Rackley Rippling follow.
So
that
do
means
we.
I allow myself to be a visionary, wanting to do and see and tell the story better. And then I totally trust all of my people in their leadership positions up under the COO, Susan DeGrassi. And in this EOS model, I no longer ogre people. I often say I was disappointed in my nephew, Aaron Antis, the VP here today. But when he was interning at college, flying here to work weeks at a time, one week before Christmas, he worked 98 and a half hours.
Wow.
Think about it. Do the math. It's sick. He's not getting any sleep hardly. But I remember I didn't even compliment him for a couple of days because I was a tiny bit disappointed he didn't hit the 100 because I was teasing getting 100. It just shows you how much shift I've had. And today, I donate almost all my time, and I encourage my people to donate their time. And there's something magical that occurs. The more all of us give of our time, telling our true story in the best way we can in that moment to actually be a little bit of help to other people, it's been monumental in the shift of our happiness in the company. Ask Corey, ask Susan, ask Aaron, ask Bobby if they're happy. I just mentioned some people you might know. They are so happy, and I don't take credit. It's because that's somewhere we started in this, letting go of being me and my ego and all the things and letting it be us because they're the ones that are here with me. I just spilled my water. Oh, look at it flow to find the weakness. No, it's not there. But I think there's something huge today. And I got to tell you the story that happened. It's another airplane story that it can only takes a minute to tell.
Okay.
Again, it proves this is the highest of human behavior. I'm on the airplane a year ago coming back from a vacation. I have a talk about purpose the next day about why I give back to the community. But we're getting on an airplane flying coach, and I'm with my family again. And I'm nervous about this talk. So they sit on one side 3 rows, and I'm on the second set of 3 rows, which means I'm going to have somebody sit next to me. And all I'm thinking about is, I have a talk to prepare. Please, may nobody that talks to me sit next to me. Please, may they be nice. Please, all these things. And all of a sudden, as I'm doing that little weird prayer, this man walks in, and he's short. And he's got one eye kind of going the other way. And I'm just like looking at him like this. And he actually made eye contact with me right as he was looking and reading from a tiny little book. And I knew right away, oh my God, if that guy sits next to me, he's going to start talking about whatever's in that tiny little book. And sure enough, he sat next to me. And within a minute, it's like, hey, bud, I'm Paul. And I'm hearing about what's in that book.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I really wanted to get away. I wanted to get away, but I was stuck. And I don't want to be mean, but it's kind of a mean story. But this guy had nothing in common with me. And it wasn't fair. And he's talking to me about all these things. I'm hardly talking to him at all, but I'm being nice. I'm acting nice. Yeah. It's killing me. And finally, I feigned sleep until I went to sleep. And we landed. And I was like, oh, at least I'm free. And I'll be able to go home and figure out what I'm going to say. And I lifted up to my right, and I looked at my wife across the aisle, gave her those big eyes like, I have a story to tell you. And suddenly I hear Paul, and he goes, hey, Charles, that reminds me, I had a vision. I have a vision. This guy's going to tell me a vision, and it was all I could do to, turn around and show him the respect as he deserves as a human being, as I did. I turned around and looked at this man that I had nothing in common with. And he said, I go, what is your dream, friend? What is your vision? And he said, Charles, I dream of a world where every company takes care of its employees and gives back to the community. I swear to God, this guy, he doesn't know me. I didn't hardly talk to him. I had nothing in common with him, but for somehow in that moment, we channeled something and him and I agreed. And the universe gave me a smack on the back and said, you dude, you're right.
Yeah.
This is the highest of human behaviors. Keep fighting for it. Keep giving, even when everyone else says no. And that guy nailed it. And it shows you that we all have this human trait in common. And I love those two airplane stories because they prove it, just this roofing pro thing, how we've learned to stop hiding our hands in our pockets, but instead use these hands proudly showing our skill at taking care of community, keeping families safe and dry. But it's a humanness thing. And now more than ever, people need to understand that. And that's what I love to talk about, fearless giving. And that is what we define happy and scrappy philanthropy, we call it. So thank you.
I love it. Fearless giving. You know what? This, I feel, is a gift for the holiday seasons, for you and I to be able to chat about this, share out some of these thoughts. These are the things that have inspired me and what we do regularly at Roofer's Coffee Shop, giving back to the industry. And because we believe in it and we believe in growing it and we believe in all of our associations and our nonprofits and helping them. And so for everyone out there, here is some amazing thoughts, some direction, some mentorship for 2025. Charles, thank you so much.
Love you, Heidi.
Love you. This has been so spectacular. Everyone, thank you so much
Look me up on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Charles Antis on LinkedIn. I loved it. That's where we collaborate.
Yeah. LinkedIn, Charles, we're always back and forth on that. And I have to tell you, Charles is also an influencer. You're going to be hearing about our influencers going into next year. And he also, Antis Roofing has their full directory as part of the R Club on Roofers Coffee Shop. So you can find out, you can see this amazing culture that they have and what they do every single day. We have so many articles, so much information out there on our directory for Antis. So check it out, join it. Charles, happy holidays. Thank you so much for being with me today.
I'm floating again, just like I was when we first got on.
I know.
Bobby, help me. Bye.
I love it. And thank you all. Thank you for being a part of this, listening to this Roofing Road Trips, and for your being a part of the coffee shops all year long. We are so excited. It's going to be a great 2025. So stay with us. Be sure to check out all of our podcasts under the Read, Listen, Watch under the navigation on Roofers Coffee Shop. Look for Roofing Road Trips, or on your favorite podcast channel. Be sure to subscribe and set those notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We'll be seeing you again on the next Roofing Road Trips.
Yeah, go Heidi Ellsworth!
If you've enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on every roofing adventure. Make sure to visit rooferscoffeeshop.com to learn more. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next Roofing Road Trip.